some live out here, and there's some that just love to come up from Melbourne. A lot of people camp here for a couple of days. Log crossing, which is...
The housing situation in Australia is absolutely dreadful. I don't know how a family can manage paying rent, educating, feeding, clothing children, or even themselves. How does a pensioner live if the rental goes up $70 a week?
People cannot afford to live in society the way it's structured at the moment.
Some sort of accommodation there too. If you're living in a van that's not lined and you're in the middle of winter and it's freezing, and one man only just had a couple of blankets and he was really happy to get a sleeping bag and so on.
There's been some weeks where there's been 10 people and other weeks where there's been 16, 18 people.
They're there for varying reasons too. They've come from different backgrounds, and every single one is an individual and has come with unique needs.
There you go, mate. I'll grab those trackies for you.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be on our way then.
It's a terrible situation, and it has to change.
We were living in a pretty big house on Raymond Island. Great house, had two fairly separate living areas. We were in the process of separating anyway. And then we did, and the house was really all we had and some super, so not enough for both of us to buy houses separately when we separated. Very amicable separation, so we both got half, but not enough to buy a house in the Australian housing market. I decided to buy a tiny house. I've been looking at them for a long time, thinking that's as much space as I really need. And some friends of mine offered their land for me to put my tiny house on for as long as I needed it. The only other option for me would have been renting, and there's no rental properties around here that I could afford anyway, absolutely nothing. And I couldn't afford them.
When I was young, you know, unfortunately my father was a violent alcoholic, so you know, there was violence in the house, and mum and I have three sisters, so 4 kids. So often we'd have to get out of the house, and mum and dad were both on the disability pension. In our case, the Catholic Church subsidised houses for us, so if it wasn't for them, we'd have been in the street. So when I, you know, grew up and pursued a career and went forth, you know, that stuff doesn't leave you, you know. When I became a councillor, we got together as a council and said, what are the big issues in our area? And affordable housing and social housing are big issues.
Up till the time when I moved in here, I'd moved about 16 times, so I was homeless for those years. I was actually on the public housing waiting list when I moved up here, and that's, you know, never going to happen really. The more I learned about tiny homes, the more I thought, oh, this is a possibility for me. And I had a bit of super. I used all my super. I borrowed money from my siblings as well, and so it was something affordable, something lasting. I live very simply, so it's a perfect fit for me.
So at the moment you can have a tiny house on wheels in a backyard if there's a dwelling.
The removal of the planning trigger has certainly made life a lot easier for people to live in their tiny home on wheels. The sense I get is that we already had quite a lot of people living in a variety of alternative housing arrangements, caravans, tiny homes, and so on. This has allowed some of those people to live more formally within the local laws.
I'm so lucky to be in that, very close to the heart of Castlemaine, with neighbours close by that we, get along with and we share things with. I get to enjoy the garden with the people that own the house, and it's very important for me to be in community. My tiny home fits on where the garage was, so it's not like it's even a different structure.
There has not been one problem. Now, that doesn't mean there's not issues and stuff around, but it hasn't been one problem we haven't been able to deal with. I think that's fantastic. Like that's just telling you that there's respect on both sides. So if we opened up to even more, I feel it would help more people and go towards helping the issue.
The sense I get from council offices is a sense of relief that this is a solution that can work and that it's no longer triggering extra work for our planning department. It's not a panacea for everyone, but for a certain segment of those facing housing stress, it's really amazing solution, and it's been really successful for them. And I see that firsthand, when I visit some friends who are living in tiny homes. I think another big impact that it's had, though, is on the industry. We always had, we've had one very long-standing tiny home builder in the Shire. We now have 3, even maybe 4 businesses who are building to order tiny homes on wheels, and they're not just for customers in the Shire. That's across Victoria and Australia. That's been really positive.
What people sometimes think, I think, is that a tiny house is going to be somehow of substandard quality or not quite as good as the big house on the hill. But this house, the one that I'm in, for example, took as much effort, as much care, and is built as solidly as any house you'd care to look at. It's got insulation, it's got a really solid timber framing, it's got a really solid floor, it's completely weatherproof. It has sunroofs in the ceiling. It's built really, really well. I think it could really provide an affordable, fabulous sort of landmark way forward for housing in East Gippsland that the council could get a lot of credit for and find other councils looking at it with interest to see how they could follow suit.
And we all need to encourage each other and lift each other up,
One gentleman that we see from time to time, he's now been able to get some accommodation in Eagle Point.
He said, I'm in a good place now because of the time you've been catching up and visiting me. He said, I'm in a different place, I'm in a good place. And he said, I want to do something to help someone like I was when you first met me. So we went and saw him and he put $50 in my hand. We're going to go to these sand dunes, but further up. There's people living over here, right here, in these sand dunes on the other side.
If we can even free up a few places for people to live that can't afford to buy their own place or pay these prohibitive rents, and stop the incessant grind of trying to find somewhere else to live and packing up and all that awful process. It would be a plus, a contribution to everyone living in a place where they want to belong.